but we have to have a climate action plan in order to access those funds. That's why this is important. So it's just a set of goals, the why and the what, but we need your help to figure out how we're going to do this. We're working with the community to determine how to get there, and I'll let Joe tell you more, but I just wanted to give a brief introduction, and I really appreciate your consideration as we work to adopt this one.
Oh, this is charger for his left hand.
Make the best you can.
Very good. So, are you going to be able to take any questions now? You can wait for
I don't think so.
anyone have any questions for Mayor Kelly on the climate action plan? I would just like to add one thing, and it's thank you for starting this conversation on litter as well. We talk about climate, we talk about seeing the city, these things. I feel like somewhere we're going to find a way to address that as well. And you're responsive to me on text messages, even when I bug you on talk radio about it. And I want to say thanks. And I know we've got a lot of work ahead of us on that. But
we do, but to your point, Chairman, I think to the extent that we can have a Chattanooga collectively thinking of itself in the broadest sense of the word as a green space, that pride of place will eventually crowd out. People just won't tolerate litter. So yeah, I think that's okay.
okay, very good.
Yeah, we'll turn it over to Joe to walk through the point.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir.
Followers.
Thank you all. And as the mayor kind of laid out, the importance of this plan can't be overstated because it does unlock the opportunity for billions of dollars for the city of Chattanooga. And with your permission, I'd like for this to be a conversation, so feel free to hop in and ask questions throughout the process. But before I get started, I did want to acknowledge the team that put this together, including Aaron Schmidt, Eric Asbo on our team, Sarah Robbins, Ellis, Kirsten, Janelle, who did a lot of the design work, but also a broad range of community partners that help contribute to this plan, including Green Spaces, EPD, TBA, Climate Chattanooga, UTC, Thrive 2055, Trusted Public Land, Regional Planning Agency, as well as many other groups that we'd be here listening. But if you had a hand in this plan, could you please stand up? I'd like for you all to be recognized, please. If you could go to the next slide, I'll go ahead and get started. So I'll walk us through the plan and what it actually means for Chattanooga, but I want to set some context first. This is a plan that prepares our city and our economy for change. Change, yes, in climate, but also change in growth and change in our local economy and how it works, what the industries are going to be here. And it really positions us as a leader. And at the beginning of this plan, we knew it was important to specifically highlight equity as a central value. This is part of the Chattanooga plan that the mayor put out, and it continues to be a theme in this particular plan. But our city is growing, and a climate action plan is only effective if it recognizes that growth and helps us manage it in a really effective and thoughtful way. Next slide, please. But specifically, our green economy is growing. The expansion of Volkswagen's product line in the ID4 has brought 1,000 new jobs to Chattanooga with possibility of more. It's an $800 million investment. Novonix has brought already 300 new jobs, but is possibly poised to bring more, and $160 million investment. iFixit specifically had said that they came to Chattanooga because of our commitment to our quality of life and our great outdoors, which was able to attract their employees. I want to be very clear, the global economy is transitioning from oil fields in Texas to battery production in Chattanooga, and that is a massive shift. And it positions our community to be a really strong player as this new sector of our economy takes not only national but international precedence. The Biden administration has been very clear. They are taking a new approach to things like electric production, semiconductors. The city of Chattanooga is going to be pursuing the Regional Technology Hubs grant that was recently put out by the Economic Development Agency. Billions of dollars are flowing, and as the country potentially takes a new approach to industrial policy, where we put our thumb in the scale to make sure that manufacturing comes back to places across the United States. We want to make sure that Chattanooga is a real winner there. And as the mayor correctly said, we are a national security asset. And a big part of that is because we produce here in Chattanooga some of the critical elements that are important for our green supply chain, including anode components like synthetic graphite. Tennessee and the Southeast are attracting a whole variety of green manufacturing jobs from Blue Oval City in Memphis to Tritium. We are not the only ones, but Tennessee is well positioned to succeed here in Chattanooga, being the real capital for that. Additionally, our outdoor economy is strong, and you guys all heard from Scott Martin about this. This is key to our identity. I won't regurgitate all the numbers here, but $1.5 billion really focused on tourism here that employed 11,620 people. And we know that those dollars spent here by tourists also have a multiplier effect in our local economy. And so our outdoor ecosystem is a big part of that. People go to Memphis for their sports environment. People go to Nashville for the Broad Street and bachelorette parties. People come to Chattanooga because they want to hike. They want to be in the outdoors. They want to see all of that green stuff. And so protecting and conserving that is essential. So next slide, please. That's a huge part of the reason we're introducing Chattanooga's climate action plan. So I'll cover what a climate action plan is, but at its simplest, it's a sustainability and resilience plan. It is a growth plan, and it is a jobs plan. And it's also a framework for getting things done. It's a framework for action together with the city and the community. We have the opportunity to capture the benefits of being a leader in this economy. And as the mayor said, the time is now, because frankly, within the next couple of weeks, we know there are grant opportunities that will advantage Chattanooga to have a climate action plan that puts us in a position to be more competitive. And also, I want to highlight the fact that we've already been a leader in this space, and I'll cover that a little bit later as well. Next slide. So this climate action plan, as I said, unlocks access to billions of dollars in federal and private investments. Having the plan itself, I want to be very clear, is a prerequisite or a multiplier for our ability to get those dollars. But it also leverages partnerships and best practices nationwide to help blunt the effects of climate change, which is critically important not only to our community, but also to the entire country. This country belongs to the Paris Climate Accords, as well as several other agreements, which bind this country to certain targets. And in order to achieve those targets, cities have to participate. And what we know about that is right now, we are there's lots of money flowing and in the form of carrots to get cities to and communities to pursue those priorities. Soon the stick will follow, and no one wants to be under a consent decree for something else in Chattanooga. And for us to reap the benefits of this coming out early is really, really critical. And so because of the nature of those regulations, we clearly are going to be in a strong position with this climate action plan to capture all the benefits without really seeing any sort of slowdown in our economy. If anything, it's going to be accelerated. So I want to cover the 6 goals that are covered in this climate action plan. They really represent the meat and potato of this plan. And there are 6. And the first one is that it starts with equity. It says that Chattanooga will reduce disparities among socially and economically vulnerable communities. That means we put equity first, and we're taking a public health approach even in our climate action plan. It's something that we were really fortunate to get some good feedback from the folks over at the UCC National Public Health Program, and we're integrating their feedback into our work. The next one is a big one, but Chattanooga will become a net zero carbon community with the municipal footprint being net zero by 2040, and we're committing that we will be a net zero carbon community by 2050. So the city itself, our local government, net zero by 2040, and I think we're already making very great strides on our way there, but the community by 2050. And this is in line with national standards. And then also, Chattanooga will become a zero waste community, as we've had a tremendous amount of discussion about the impact that litter and the nature of our landfills and recycling. I mean, this has been a focus of this administration from the very beginning, And this codifies some ambitious goals and an approach to get there. And then the last three, we're going to build a more sustainable city. We're going to preserve and improve the integrity of our natural resources. And finally, and I think most importantly, we're going to be a leader in the green economy and offer opportunity to folks in every single neighborhood, regardless if there's a code or where they came from. So that is at the heart of our plan, and I think is an ambitious agenda, but one that we can get done here in Chattanooga. So how do we plan on doing this? I think in partnership with all of you is the first part. Like this plan, we are asking for, and we'll be introducing for adoption by council, and it can be updated and adjusted regularly as any other plan that we put out with our partners at Regional Planning Agency. We are used to plans that live, and that was true for the One Chattanooga plan, and it continues to be true, but we anticipate this will also change. And we've already made a lot of progress towards these goals. But as a set of goals, we really do plan on addressing forward the challenges around transportation, buildings and waste, green spaces and waterways, and jobs and opportunities. Next slide. As we have talked about over the last couple of weeks, we are making major steps towards completely overhauling the way that we think about carbon. And that is started with a brand new board. And new carbon leadership is a really exciting transition point for us to think about how we do things like fully electrifying carbon and investing in our conversion of our light-duty fleet of vehicles to alternative fuel sources, and also making it easier for residents to own and use electric vehicles. On buildings and waste, we had a greenhouse gas inventory, I guess 7 years ago before this administration, and it's clear that the vast majority of our emissions as a city government come from our municipal buildings, and we've already made tremendous gains in reducing that with our partners at TVA and EPB. But as we continue to make progress there, we are going to make sure that we get that number to zero. And I think that will be a tremendous accomplishment. And this plan calls for quick steps to get us there. It also improves, this plan also improves air and water quality throughout our city. We all remember the Walter Cronkite story, and no one in this room nor in our community wants to go backwards. And this also makes sure that our parks and green spaces remain a priority. And this will dovetail with the Parks and Village Master Plan that Scott is already shared with you, and it's really an investment in our quality of life. That is, I think what you're seeing here is a dovetailing of different verticals from the Climate Action Plan, the Parks and Village Master Plan, the One Chattanooga Plan, our affordable housing plan. So we are thinking about these things in layers. And finally, this plan grows our local green economy and prepares our local workforce for the green economy of the future. And we've already said that the numbers here are staggering, $1 trillion industry already today. That number will only grow, and Chattanooga has a real potential to be at the forefront of it. As Novonix continues to lead the way in graphite manufacturing, or Volkswagen is continues to be an important part of our local economy, but also for all the companies we don't even know are going to locate here, because we have all those synergies and the overlap in that industry. Then clustering effects will attract more companies, and those are conversations that Jermaine and Charles and the Chamber are having. So I'll stop there. Actually, if you don't mind going back one slide, I do want to see if there are any questions about the goals before I kind of talk a little bit about our track record so far.
I just want to say it's sort of remarkable how we've gone from, like I said, water contracts that says what was one of the dirtiest cities in America.
Yeah.
Now we're a green city, and we're very concerned about the better quality of life for all citizens of Chattanooga. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a huge part of our identity in ways that we couldn't have anticipated 30, 40 years ago. But then now, as we work on technologies like quantum and nano components, I mean, I think we do have a real opportunity to be a leading sector, or a leading city in the sector.
Jared, if I was reading in the press about this plan and it mentioned being zero carbon by 2040, can you give us an example?
Yes. I have one in here, so
Not that I'm a reporter, but I do read.
absolutely. Well, if you don't mind, I would plan on getting there because I have a great example on how we might be able to do some of that in a few slides.
I was gonna ask you another quick question if I can, and that was, you kind of touched on it. How does this align with the One Chattanooga and then obviously the POC? So, and are they kind of working
They do.
in synergy together?
So as we build a competitive regional economy and pursue our workforce development goals, that's obviously very much in line with building not white collar or blue collar, but what we are thinking of as green collar jobs. And I think robotics is a perfect example. You can have a high school degree and make a living wage, maybe actually a little quite a bit above the living wage, with technical training that they offer you on the job through apprenticeship programs they are offering through a Future Ready Institute at Lookout Valley. I think by creating those opportunities where it's getting technology out of the lab and out of the theoretical white collar environment, but getting them into spaces and factories here in Chattanooga where we're making things again, that's really exciting. I think it offers a huge opportunity for folks who have historically been left behind in this community. Again, if the president and the country are moving in a direction where we are onshoring jobs at a historic rate, manufacturing has come up faster than any time in the last 20, 30 years. We want those things that are going to be made in America to be made in Chattanooga. And that's what this plan is about. And
I'm glad you said that because it wasn't long ago, I feel like I was talking to Mayor Burke and pushing the technology jobs. And I remember standing, I think, while I was campaigning, and I said, well, hang on a minute, what about our roots? I mean, we're a manufacturing city. We need to go and make sure that those foundational jobs are available too. And of course, workforce development being a priority. All this is baked in, I'm assuming, to this plan. And then the last point I was, if you'll allow me, is are we focusing on economically forgotten areas of our city for maybe some of these new facilities or opportunities to land? And I think that's, you talk about equitable, that's what I hope to see.
absolutely. I think that is going to be top of mind as we bring not only industry and companies into our community, but we think about what are the workforce development and training centers that we need to prepare folks for the future. I think Green Spaces has a phenomenal program called Build It Green, where they train folks who otherwise have been lacking an opportunity and create an opportunity for them to participate in the green economy by teaching them how to weatherize homes and improve energy efficiency, which reduces carbon emissions. Again, we are talking about opportunity when we talk about the green economy, and we're talking about opportunity for people who have historically been left behind.
That's exactly what we want. And do you plan on touching anything on the LEED certification?
So I don't have anything about that in the presentation, but I'm happy to dive a little further.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Does it, your plan, is it line that like potential like rail or railroad that's coming through?
So absolutely, just had a call
Funny
today about the possibility of bringing Amtrak to Chattanooga, and we're still in the process of exploring what that would look like. But Chattanooga is going to be submitting alongside Memphis, Nashville, Chattanooga, and Atlanta the possibility of an Amtrak expansion, which does help reduce congestion on I-24 75 split, but also reduces carbon emissions as we get cars off the road. We want to provide those alternative transportation opportunities, but also we know that public transit like buses have a big role to play. Buses individually, when they carry 25 people, can take 24 cars off the road. And if it becomes an attractive alternative, and we know that if the system works and if we can get people to the jobs they're trying to go to and get them there on time and predictably, that is a huge way for us to reduce congestion on our roadways and then also to reduce carbon emissions at the same time. Well, I'll keep going, and then if you have any questions, feel free to
Anybody just chime in. We're casualists today.
All right, so we've already gotten a head start. We've, thanks to the work of our team over multiple administrations and multiple mayors, we've already reduced municipal electric use by 25% since 2012. and that's producing a $2.2 million annual savings. I want to really drive home that these changes don't all have to be associated with a ultimate price tag. They can often result in savings for our community. Another good example is the box of solar array generating 10% of our electricity use and really producing $400,000 in annual savings. We have a public safety microgrid, which makes our public safety services more resilient and ensures 24/7 resilience of the facility and a 30% reduction in electric use. Those are exciting things that are practical that we can do today that have a meaningful impact on things like public safety and our budgets. We also have some exciting projects underway, including $4.5 million from the United States Department of Transportation for electric vehicle transportation management to connect drivers to charging stations, but also $25 million raise grant for the replacement of the low-cost Boulevard Bridge, which will provide pedestrian and bicycle access to the Riverwalk and East Mississippi River, increasing public safety and reducing congestion along the way, protecting a critical asset and a critical bridge. We also have these other two items that I'm not going to go over in specific, but obviously there's a lot of federal dollars out there. You asked about next slide, please. An example project that I think captures this well. We're not talking about radical changes here, but often just common sense things that come from intentionality. So our public works department refuse fleet consumes about 300,000 gallons annually of diesel, and it's around 3,000 metric tons of carbon in the atmosphere each year. By converting one garbage truck into natural gas, we can save nearly $100,000 in life cycle costs and convert over 600 tons of carbon to enter our atmosphere. And fleet-wide, if we did that, that would reduce our annual fuel cost by 50%, or over $600,000 a year, and reduce carbon emissions by over 1,000 metric tons. That's more than $3 billion in total life cycle in operational savings, and 6,000 in metric tons of carbon reductions over a conservative 6-year service life. That is a tangible, practical thing we can do in order to transition as appropriate as our vehicles age to natural gas instead of diesel. And again, this is going to take time, right? So we probably aren't going to convert everything to electric right away. But when we can convert to a natural gas vehicle in the intermediary, we know we are reducing our carbon emissions and saving the city money at the same time.
And you're talking about converting, not replacing.
Yes, I would defer to Eric for more specifics on that.
Just following the general replacement cycle, there's economies of scale, of course, in terms of infrastructure and that sort of thing. But you can replace conservatively, if you stretch out a life cycle to 10 years, replace your fleet 3 times in the life of natural gas, compressed natural gas infrastructure, and the top end is $5+ million in operational savings. But that on its own, CNG can give us a 20% drop in greenhouse gases. We have opportunities for renewable natural gas and can have an even more drastic reduction on the level of about 70%. So, and again, this is a cost saving mechanism over what we've partnered with, having discussions with DeKalb County, Georgia, who has over 300 CNG refuse fleets. That's all they run. Waste management is on the verge of buying about 7,000 CNG vehicles and just dedicated strictly to that. So we know that the private sector and other public sector partners are investing in that technology.
Absolutely. When you're driving down the highway, I see it more and more. This vehicle powered by natural gas. Yeah. And it's becoming more and more common. So it's an electric car thing.
Well, hey, look, I think Chattanooga wins in both instances. And again, this is about the climate action plan provides a layer of analysis for our folks in fleet management to think about, okay, how are we helping achieve Mayor Kelly and the city's goals and the city council's goals and transitioning as appropriate. Again, these are things that make sense. And by having a climate action plan, it's the nudge we need to get over the finish line for some of these projects. Another opportunity is thinking about our individual capital projects and having some percentage, small percentage, less than 5% of the rider for doing things like solar arrays on specific capital projects. Those are opportunities we can take now. So in terms of how we fund these initiatives, as I've outlines, we have some policy and operational investments that don't require funding. Others will require capital investments to achieve longer-term savings, and we'll work with council to make those plans. We are not specifically saying we're going to do this all in 1 or 2 years. This is something that we commit to over the long haul, and we do it in our regular budget process. Existing projects are already saving nearly $2.5 million, $2.2 million compared to 2012. And billions of dollars are available in federal funding for more cost-intensive projects. And so we'll continue to innovate and work with you all and the community along the way.
Those dollars available from the federal government, that you anticipate that you need an 80-20 split?
So some of them will be 80-20 splits, but some of them will be 100% funded for competitive grant opportunities. Some of them will be different percentages, and they're unlike maybe some of the USDOT grants that we're used to receiving on a regular basis. There are now grant opportunities through the Department of Energy, through EPA, through USDOT that all have slightly different requirements, and by having a climate action plan, we can tap it on. $1.2 trillion available through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, estimated to produce 1.5 million jobs, $369 billion for energy security and climate change in the IRA. But then also the CHIPS Act also has a tremendous amount of money set aside, and that's why we'll be pursuing the regional technology hubs, which will have a direct tie to our timing plan as well. I do want to come back around to the fact that this plan was built with a community-first approach and was informed by many other plans that came before it, similar to our One Chattanooga plan. The City of Chattanooga Regional Reserve Support Integrated Community Sustainability Plan, which I had the opportunity to collaborate on whenever I was at Metro in this project before I came to the city. The Climate Adaptation Workshop funded by the National Science Foundation, as well as this draft plan, which received community feedback from over 100 stakeholders. And that's just the start. We believe this is the beginning of some internal and external stakeholder committees that will continue to report progress to this council and this administration from the beginning. So in terms of next steps, there are some initial low-hanging fruit that we are going to include in our next budget, which is every 2 years we want to do a greenhouse gas inventory because that will help create the roadmap for us to determine where our biggest bang for our buck is in reducing carbon emissions and helping us meet our goals. And that also means that we want to do a carbon drawdown analysis, a waste stream audit, and also begin to set specific metrics for success. And then again, ongoing accountability. So that means regular reports, not only to our funders, but to you and City Council, as well as ongoing transparency. And we'll continue to put the data that we collect about our emissions and the work that we're doing on Chattanooga. And next slide, please. The adoption of this plan has been beginning a journey that's going to hopefully define Chattanooga's economic future for the next several decades. And as we work alongside you and all of our partners at the state, federal, and community level, this is a framework for smart healthy growth that puts our city on the right track to provide opportunity for every single neighborhood and to lead a healthier city. And it also leaves space for things that we didn't think about. So I'll stop there. Next slide, please, and just open it up for questions and discussion. We are going to be bringing a resolution that adopts these goals and references this plan to this council, and we hope that we can work with you to adopt this and refine it and make sure that these priorities are reflected in our budgets for years to come.
Questions or comments? You thrown a lot at us.
Yes.
And I know we had this before. Councilwoman?
Are those slides in this packet?
I will email them to you immediately as I walk in.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
No other, before you go, the education component for the public, something I'm always interested in is how do we sell this? How do we get buy-in?
We will be setting up several neighborhood-focused meetings where we will walk through a lot of the similar information, but also talk about how this can benefit individual neighborhoods as well. Our new director of community engagement, Shadrina, will be helping us put that together alongside the folks who put this action plan together. So we know that this is the beginning of engagement. We want to make sure that the public understands this, and then we've also been spending quite a bit of time with our thoughtful with media and helping them understand this as well. So we're excited about the opportunity to share this with you.
Last question, budget impacts?
So we anticipate that there will be some items in the budget that will tie into this plan, but we don't imagine that it'll be anything dramatic in the fiscal year 24 budget. That will be a greenhouse gas inventory, which is a modest cost that we were budgeting for, and some additions in our capital budget. But we know that this is work that happens over the long term, and we'd like to work with you all to figure out how to scale that up.
Okay. I'm sure you'll give us on those items that are affected.
Yeah.
CBA on that.
That's right.
ROI,
Yeah.
something of that nature. Fantastic. Any other questions? For Joe? All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in.
Now for other questions, other agenda items.
Other agenda items. We can take down that slide presentation. Are we back to camera?
We can be, if you want to pause, we can switch over.
Yeah, let's pause. Get us back on screen.